Hariom, welcome to SWAN. It's actually Friday today, our day of yoga, so we thought, why not catch one of the people who have been here right from the beginning, build up this place. We'll be talking to co-founder and yoga teacher Gyanmitra. Hariom.
Hariom.
We thought we're gonna catch you for some questions since
Okay.
you have your day of yoga today.
Yes, today is Friday, so yeah.
How long have you been here for?
Huh?
Doing this?
How long? Since the beginning. So 2010, with the idea, in fact 2009, with the idea to set up a retreat center, I was here. Then saw some lands with the idea that a retreat center will be eventually built on it. And then the whole year of 2010 was spent in looking for land, one whole year. And then eventually, end of 2010, we found this place. And the whole of 2011 was spent in construction of the place. And January 2012, we started the place.
And you always felt like this is your purpose in life, teaching yoga?
To begin with, no. Because when I went to my guru's ashram, it was more to learn about yoga than actually teach yoga.
So it was more important to learn it for yourself.
For myself, yes. But then, when you go and experience something really beautiful, you are in a way burdened with this responsibility that you have to go and share it with the people. So maybe that was the calling, and as staying in the Guru's ashram and being under his tutelage, learning so much about myself and how to conduct yourself in a group of people, because we live in a very closed environment in an ashram. It's probably one of the most strict and very regulated places among all the other places in India or other world for yoga learning. Bihar School of Yoga is very traditional, very strict, very serious. So it's not for someone who is want to scratch the surface. Yeah, it's very, very, very deep, that place.
Do you consider this place like SWAN as an ashram also?
Not really, because if you have an ashram, well, traditionally you have to understand, traditionally yoga or any kind of spiritual sciences were taught in a Gurukula system. So if you translate Gurukula, means house of the Guru. So the Guru was the main person of the place, the premises, and it was his family and all the people who came in as disciples. They stayed with the Guru in the campus or in whatever that setup was, and they stayed with the Guru, lived with the Guru, learned under his tutelage. So that was a traditional way of learning yoga or any other spiritual sciences in ancient India. And in today's time, if you take that same model, so practically we are doing almost the same here, that people are coming from various parts of the world, they are living with us in sort of our home. We live together, we eat together, we study together. So in that way, yes, but then we don't have a guru here. So that very important element is not there, because I do not want to consider myself as a guru or anything.
Okay.
So I'm just a teacher. So in some way, yes, but in some way, not really. And also, this place is very easy in terms of comforts and very good food.
I can tell.
So to be considered as an ashram, because ashram is it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's very hard life there. Yes.
And now you talked about how you built this place, and also, I mean, teaching yoga, you must be getting like a lot of people who are seekers and like want to find some sort of purpose in life, do you think life overall is about finding a purpose?
Well, I was also myself intrigued by this question for a long time, especially when I was in my Guru's ashram, and after a lot of mental turmoil and after a lot of mental debate within me, I also went to him and I asked him, like, what's the purpose of this life? So at least to me, what he answered, I can just tell you that.
Yeah, please.
He said that the purpose of life is to live.
Easy.
It's very, it's very easy. The purpose of life is to live. But yeah, I mean, live, but how? That's the question, and that we have to all figure out ourselves, because what is my truth cannot be yours, or what works for me cannot work for you as well. So it may happen that, if you go and find somebody who's wise, very experienced and all that, and you go and seek advice from them, they can tell you something about, okay, this is how the life of purpose should be. But then how would you know whether it is your life purpose or not? You may consider that advice, you work on that advice for some time, and eventually your heart's calling will not be there in it. Then it will not work for you. So in my personal opinion, everyone has to find their own purpose, and the only way one can find their own purpose is by themselves. In some cases, yes, maybe you can be advised and that advice will stick to you and it will work for you. But in general, I think everybody is supposed to find their own purpose.
Can yoga help finding that purpose?
Definitely.
Oh.
Well, yoga, first of all, helps you to understand yourself better, yourself in a much better way, your likes, dislikes, what is your inclination and other things. You are introduced much closely to yourself when you start practicing yoga. And if you know yourself, then you can also decide what is working for you. So definitely it will give you a lot of insights about your own personality.
And if someone's now listening, thinking, yeah, I know I need to find that purpose, do you have any idea on how they can start? Like, what would be a first step without quitting job and selling everything and just
See, the thing is that traditional India always emphasized on this. We had this four pillars, no? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. All these has to be considered into life. Dharma means follow the right path, the path of righteousness.
Is this the right path for yourself, as you mentioned, or is the general right path
General
for
right
everyone?
path plus your own right path.
Mm-hmm.
So dharma in totality and swadharma, your self dharma. So, and dharma is dynamic, it's not static. It can change from moment to moment. Right now, you are asking me questions, right? In this setup, you are asking me questions. What should be your dharma? Your dharma should be that you should ask me the most appropriate questions. My dharma, because I am giving the answers, is to answer your questions as appropriately as possible according to my capability. So as you can see, this is a dynamic thing. If I am driving a car, at that time my dharma is to be the best driver. And if you are walking in the street, your dharma is to be aware that you are not imposing yourself into others. Be a good pedestrian. So it's a dynamic thing. But coming back to this dharma, artha, kama, moksha principle. So dharma in general, then artha. Artha means to create wealth, because we all need material wealth in order to have a comfortable life. All of us, we need that. So dharma, artha, you have to also earn a living. Kama means desires, satisfaction of desires, because if you do not have, if you have unsatisfied desires, then you are a little bit bitter, you are not at ease. So dharma, artha, kama, kama means satisfaction of desire, and moksha, that ultimately keep working towards that goal of liberation, and actually not wanting to come back to these planes ever again, because the soul is tired of having one body, another body, and many lives. This is at least what people believe here in this part of the world, and I do myself as well. So yeah, this is one of the ways of looking at life, that you can, have these principles in your life and then work accordingly to that.
So talking about karma, or you were mentioning fulfilling desires. I mean, we have limitless desires every
Yes,
day,
we
and
do.
maybe that's the biggest challenge to like see which desire do I actually want to fulfill.
Yeah, that's a very tricky question. I mean, see, in our life, desires will be there, and desires are dynamic. They keep
Yeah,
changing. They keep changing. In different stages of
yeah,
life, you desire different
yeah.
things.
And once you have one, you desire the other.
More. So, I mean, fulfillment of desire and thinking that by fulfilling desire, you will be able to uh, quench the thirst of desiring is a wrong notion. Because if you fulfill a desire, it's like trying to douse fire by putting more gasoline into it. So you have to decipher your desire, what it is. So if you are desiring, for example, a house to live,
Mm.
now if you really go deep into it, it is just all about security and feeling secure,
Yeah,
right? But at the
definitely.
same time, what kind of house? Because this is everybody needs to be secure, to have a roof up over their head. But then we have seen, there are houses which are spending billions, and there are houses which is very basic.
Mm.
So if you have the clear understanding what a house does mean for me, it just means security and roof over my head. And if you get a house, then it's okay. But if you are spending your entire life, and you have made your life purpose itself to make the biggest, the bestest house, then you have lost the plot.
Yeah.
So this is where you have to have a clear understanding
Mm.
that we all need to have all that, but at the same time you have to be a little bit aware where, in which direction I am running towards.
Yeah.
That am I consuming myself in fulfillment of desires, or the desires are just part of my life and I have to, you know, fulfill them with awareness and then keep living my life.
So it's kind of all about finding that line.
That fine line
Yeah.
we all have to find. Sometimes places such as this, where you come and you get a little bit of insight, can help, not do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how did you end up here in the north of Goa for doing all of this?
North of Goa was not the actual original choice uh, to come actually. Mm, to begin with, there is a place in the another state next to Goa. It's called Karnataka, and there is another, a place called Gokarna.
Yeah.
That was the original plan to, set up. But then destiny played its role, and we were directed into coming to this part of the country. And I always loved Goa for its nature and its culture, and it's an ancient land. It's a land of seekers. So eventually we ended up here, and obviously this place is a very popular tourist destination. People from all over the world, they come here for various purpose, primarily tourism, because of the beaches and the beautiful nature and all the, things which are here. So yeah, that was a nice thing for us to choose Goa to be the place.
So how did it all begin? What was the first thing you did to this land when you built
This
this
land,
SWAN?
the building.
Yeah.
Funny enough that even before the land was there, I was already living here in Goa in search of the land, and I ended up buying some windows
No way.
from an antique shop because I just was passing by and I saw those windows. I was like, wow, these are amazing windows. So we didn't even have the land, but I was like, yeah, I need to get these windows.
Wherever it's gonna be, these windows are
So
gonna be.
we bought the windows and then we were able to build the whole retreat around those windows. In a way, you can say that. So those windows are in the first building when you come in to SWAN from the gate,
The library.
the library, the boutique. This is where the windows are, those windows, and some of the windows are also in the upper deluxe cottages. So that was the first thing, in a way, you can say the first stone in building the whole place. Yeah,
Wow.
and the idea was to reuse, reclaim. That was to the idea was to begin with that we have to, because what actually yoga is all about, living in harmony with nature, with yourself, and you have to walk the talk. So when the retreat was conceived and planned, the idea was very clear that we will try to utilize maximum things which are reclaimed and reused. So even this window, for example, was bought in an auction. They came from the old buildings of Indian Navy. There's a setup of Indian Navy in Goa, and they were breaking down some buildings, and these windows were now auctioned for whomsoever could take. So the windows, the doors, lot of, in fact, around 60% of the things which we have used in this place, they are all reclaimed. Reclaimed wood, reclaimed furniture, old furniture. So that way you can actually ensure that you are not consuming more from the environment. Yeah.
And now, I mean, we're in the middle of like the jungle. How are you able to keep this nature vibe here?
Well, the best way to keep the nature vibe is to let the nature be as it is. Don't cut all the trees. If you buy a piece of land, mostly what people do is they cut all the trees to make sure that they are able to build. Here what we did, that we saw that what is the placement of the trees, then we designed our facilities according to the placement of the trees. So if we had a plan that the building should be here, we ensured that the shape and the length and the width of the building will be according to the spaces in between the trees. So that was the idea to begin with, that we are not going to interfere with the wings which are already here, because the trees have been here before, much before us, and this land belongs to the trees. We are just coming in between. So we had to ensure that we will not change any of those things. We will just keep it as it is and then coexist with the nature.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's the idea behind this place. Coexistence with the nature. Yes.
Do you remember the first guest who walked in here?
Actually, I do, because the first guest was actually a group of people who actually a group was created from people from various parts of the world by another friend who's a yoga teacher, and he wanted to host his own retreat here. So he got some people. There were about 10, 12 people at that time. They came and they were the first guests who came and stayed here in SWAN. In fact, the place we are sitting right now was the first cottage which was built and made ready.
Funny.
Yeah, this cottage was the first one which was created. Like, I mean, everything else was also ready, but the upholstery, the beds, and everything was made ready in this one.
So this was more than 10 years ago than your yoga.
2012, January 2012. So yeah, 12 years.
So this was around 12 years ago. Then your yoga journey probably goes even
Definitely.
beyond that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like yoga overall, it's been like with us, it seems like kind of forever because it's such an ancient tradition. Why would we still stick to it today, even though we have all these modern scientists and like new approaches on like finding out how to live longer? Like, why are we still sticking, or why do you still stick and believe to that ancient tradition of yoga?
So if I'm understanding your question correctly, that why are we using the old technology for the new problems?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or maybe not new problems.
That's the thing, that the problems are all ancient. The feelings which we have felt even when we were cave people, insecurity, fear, jealousy, anger, all the feelings we have within us, nothing has changed. The feelings are the same. When we are when we are in a situation which is not conducive, bit dangerous, the biochemical reactions in your body happens exactly the way it used to happen when we were cave people. So if the problems are the same, how can the solutions be different? And the yogis, they were great people. I would rather call them scientists because they investigated within themselves. They used their bodies as labs. They used the society as a lab. They understood what are the problems of the society, what is the problems of humanity, and they came up with solution. But it was not even their own solutions. The solutions were downloads in the deep states of meditation. They received the message of the divine. This is how you should conduct yourself. This is how you should behave. This is how you should be. So that's why it's still applicable. Those things which were discovered by the humanity thousands of years ago are still relevant, very, very practical, and we have all the solutions of our how to manage our life in the most appropriate way by using the techniques of yoga.
Of course, I have a few more questions, but I would also love to see more of this campus.
Well, I will try to answer your questions as good as I can. But in the meantime, why don't I show you a little bit also the campus, explain you how things are here.
Yes,
So
I'd love that.
let's walk.
The fake beach. What happened?
Well, you know, Goa people come for the sea
Yeah.
and the sand. And since we were about 8 kilometers away from the beach, and a lot of people were saying that why are we not on the beach? Why don't we have a swimming pool? So I thought, why don't we create a beach for these people? And since it's not a real beach, we called it the fake beach.
Yeah.
So that's the story behind creating this
Nice.
fake beach.
So now we're on like the first level or
We
level
are
0?
on level 1.
Ah.
This is the level 1 of the property. So basically, we have 6 levels.
Mhm.
This is level 1. On level 2, we have cottages from 1 to 7. They are all named after different chakras. The third level, we have the Shakti Vihar Yogashala and also some of the cottages. In level 4, the residents, the teachers, the people who work here, all of us, we live on that level. Level 5, we have kept it empty to just have some space. And on level 6, we have the main yogashala and a few cottages. So this is how the property is divided. On level 1, obviously, we also have the reception, the Ayurveda, the dining area, and our temple, which we will take a walk.
So we were talking about you called them scientists from ancient times. Do you reckon it was easier or harder for them to live a spiritual life than it might be for us in this modern world where opportunity seems to get endless and technology seems to take over?
Spiritual life has always been the same amount of difficulty whether we are in the modern time or in those times. Don't think that the trappings of life or the attractions of life were any less for those people, but they already understood the futility of running behind material objects. It was very clear for them that fulfillment of desire is not the end of it. They also understood that having a lot of stuff and consuming more and more is not going to bring you lasting and permanent happiness. So they were the first ones to actually discover this thing, that inner peace is what we really need at the end of the day, because your state of mind is not dependent on the outside. So you may have a lot of stuff, but you still have this feeling of not having enough. So the problem is not that you do not have enough stuff. The problem is that you are feeling that you do not have stuff. So that's why they addressed the problem where it originates. It originates in your mind. That's why yoga is the science of the mind. Since the body is an extension of that mind, and the prana and the energy also within, embedded in it, the root is the mind. And according to Patanjali, who is one of the greatest sages of the yogic culture, yogic world, his definition by itself, he defined yoga as a method of seizing the modifications in the mind, seizing or stopping the disturbance of the mind.
And that disturbance has always been there.
That disturbance has always been there for the humanity. It has been intrigued by that problem since the beginning of the time. So the problem has been the same. The outside world has definitely changed, but the inner world remains the same for all of us. And that's why yoga is an inward journey, to look within, to assess the situation, and then the solutions are already there. All we need to just walk the path.
What happens once you found all the solution, once you walk the path? Like, what's the goal? What's the end of the path?
The goal is to have an easy, beautiful, pleasurable life of joy, bliss, pure happiness. That's the goal. And at the same time, when you are happy from inside, you will become infectious. You will radiate that happiness, and whomsoever will come in contact with you will also be, they will also get benefited. It's like when a flower blooms, the dharma of the flower is to bloom. The flower blooms, the beauty of that flower is there for everyone to admire and enjoy. The smells, the fragrances of the flower will be giving pleasure to all the people who will be around it. So when you yourself become better from inside, then you become a better version of yourself. You also will feel fulfilled within, and all the people who are around you also will benefit from your existence. It's a very beautiful way of being.
And practically, if I'm listening to this now and I realize like I feel sad, maybe I'm not feeling this bliss you were describing, what's the first step?
Well, the journey must begin somewhere, no? None of us were this big when we were born. We were single cell. The fetus was formed at one day, and then the journey of the fetus, it takes its time, 8-9 months. Then you are born. Then you are just rolling around, crawling on the floor. Then you start to, walk on your knees and arms, and eventually stand up. So it's like that. We have to start somewhere. You cannot be starting to feel blissful from day one. You have to begin, and that's why there is a method, proper method of yoga. There are 4 different pathways of yoga: bhakti yoga, karma yoga, jnana yoga, raja yoga. Then we have a subsidiary practice of hatha yoga. So the methods are already there. They are time tested and tested on humans. They are all tested on human beings. And it has worked for the people who have been before us. The pathway is clear. All we need to do is to walk on it. And walking is not easy. It's very challenging because obviously the trappings of the life, the attractions of the life are overwhelming for most of us. And we get engrossed and caught up in it. But yoga is not for the weak. Yoga is for the brave.
So yoga is not for everyone?
It is for everyone, but you have to bring that braveness within you.
So the first step, if I'm like, for example, listening to this, I want to like get more into yoga. Is it like I sign up for an asana class, or I come here, or should I start with philosophy, with chanting, or is there different paths maybe even how to start?
So I mean, the thing is that we are living in the 21st century, right? The access to information is everywhere. It's rampant. It's a bit too much, overwhelming.
Absolutely.
So for a seeker or for somebody who wanting to embark on the journey of yoga, of self-discovery, or just for that matter, even an asana class, they start looking, asking friends, or nowadays everybody's friends Google, they ask. And then the information is overwhelming because they don't know what is right, what is wrong. So it is a difficult situation. But the journey has to begin somewhere. And asana is more or less the primary introduction point for most of the people who embark on this journey of yoga. Asana because it deals with your physical body, but not just the physical body. When you practice asana, it also moves your prana within. It also impacts your mental states.
What is the prana? Can you quickly explain?
Prana is the vital energy which resides in the body and also around the body. In fact, the yogic concept of our existence is known as Panchakosha Viveka, means the 5 levels of existence. So, according to the yogic scriptures, our existence has been defined as having 5 layers in it. This physical body is known as Annamaya Kosha because this body is made out of food. The entire physical body is nothing but food. So that's why this body is known as Annamaya Kosha. Within this physical body is the energy, the prana. And not only within, but also around. So that aura, the energy you feel when you are in the vicinity of some people, it's that prana. So the prana resides within this body and also around it. Subtler than the prana is your mental level, the mental level of existence. Even subtler than that is known as Vijnanamaya Kosha, the level of higher intellect. Above that is Anandamaya Kosha, the level of bliss. So if your association is with the bliss body, the Vijnanamaya Kosha body, then you are not too much engrossed in the worldly affairs. You are not also getting impacted too much by what is your physical condition. It may be good or not, but it doesn't really bother you because you are not associating your existence with this physical self only. So the problem starts in the level of the mind. When the mental planes are vitiated, disturbed, they disturb the flow of prana around your body, within the body. When the flow of prana is vitiated within the body, it starts to give us different conditions in the body, stiffness, other problems. In fact, most of the psychosomatic diseases are, according to the principles of yoga and Ayurveda, are nothing but psychosomatic, meaning the cause of the disease is in the mental planes. And because of the mental planes being disturbed, the physical body is getting impacted. So the root is in the mind. If the mind is okay, sorted, in balance, in harmony, then everything else will be in harmony. So now in that light, is it more understandable that why yoga is the science of the mind rather than the body?
Yeah, definitely.
It makes sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I got all my answers, a few more answers.
All your answers.
I was going to say,
Okay.
maybe not all of them. But yeah, I'm curious to see more about the campus, if you would like
Sure.
to show me around.
I will give a small tour of the place. Yes, for sure. Let's go.
Let's go.
So we are on the fake beach right now, and here is a little bit of a patch of vegetables we grow here. Some salad leaves, some other things. Yeah, it's a continuous process. We keep growing things, and it's being used in the kitchen. Yeah, this.
Do you feel the yoga world has changed in the last 12 years?
Yoga world has not changed. People's understanding of yoga has changed. There is more awareness about yoga, its importance. Also, I feel that after having done asanas and other only physical practices, people have understood the importance of the other practices which are part of the yogic tradition, to incorporate that into their practice in their lives and get the holistic total benefit of the practices.
So it's quite a positive development, if you want to say that.
I would say yes, yeah, because at least here only, the experience has been such that people are seekers. They are seeking. They are looking for answers. We have always been looking for answers, but even more so now after COVID, actually, there has been a drastic change and shift into the way people have started to think about the life itself. So now they want to find more meaning, more purpose in life, and people have this idea that yoga has it's the path, it's the taken and chosen path for so many people for several centuries, for several thousands of years. So they can also benefit from the practices of yoga, the philosophy of yoga, and that's why people from across the world are coming here to learn more. Yeah. Now we are in our Ayurveda section.
I see some special windows already, but it's not the one, is it?
These windows are from a church. These windows are from a church. Yeah. And yeah, so actually Ayurveda and yoga, they are like sister sciences. The purpose may be different because yoga's purpose is going beyond the body, for sure. But Ayurveda's main and paramount purpose is to make sure that the body itself, body, mind, spirit, combined, is at its best. So promotion of positive health, and if there are conditions set in the body, finding the cure. That's the Ayurveda purpose. So that's why we have the Ayurveda section here in our retreat center, and it's providing the traditional treatment methods we are using. We have a doctor and we have the therapist, and we do almost all the different kind of therapies within the Ayurveda. The whole Panchakarma is also offered. People are coming from various parts of the world to participate in Panchakarma, which is from 14 days onwards until 28 days. So depending on your condition or how much you want to get benefited out of the practices of Ayurveda, people choose and they come and they, and it's really fascinating to see that how impactful, how effective the treatments are, because the change and the shift you see in people in this very short period of time is incredible. It's almost unbelievable sometimes that how much it works for us. So we are happy that we have been able to present these beautiful things of our culture for the whole of the world to come and receive the gifts. So it's a very nice feeling in the heart. This is the window which I was talking about.
That's the one.
Yeah. This was the window which was the first thing which was bought for this place.
They belong here also?
Yeah, yeah. He's Bhairav and he's Bhola. Hello. Good morning. Good morning. Come on. We go to the temple now. Yeah, they may have been yogis in their previous life and they did something. So now they have a dog body, but still they are here in a yoga retreat. Yeah. So this is our temple in SWAN. Yeah, it's the spiritual heart of our retreat center, and this is where all the energy is created to uplift the energy of the entire place, and that is done by all the ritualistic practices which are done here regularly on Saturday and Sunday, and occasionally when we have different kind of um, sadhanas which they come, like Navaratri, Shivaratri, Ekadashi, special occasions. We also perform fire rituals and mantras, specific mantras for that particular ritual. And all the guests who are here, they are welcome. I mean, they actually love to participate in something like this. And the people who are from the neighboring, our village, they also sometimes come and participate, because fire rituals has been a part of our culture for a long time, and people understand the value and importance of that, so they really love to come and participate in it, and it's a public event.
So it's actually also where the community of the village, of the people who live here, meets the guests, and it's
not necessarily meet the guests, but yeah, sometimes yes, they do.
And how do the guests react to this experience? Because for like people here, they like grew up with it, of course, but for some people, especially like if you grew up in the Western world, like it might be like totally strange experience at first, or
it can be overwhelming. But again, this is something which should be approached by the heart rather than the rational logical mind. And the people who have traveled already thousands of miles from their home and they have signed up for a retreat such as this, we assume that they are open to experience something new. So we have had people who really appreciated these practices, and they really enjoyed it and benefited from it. So I don't think so anybody disliked this practice. It was actually very welcome thing for all the people. And when you sit by fire, when you chant the mantras, you are connected to the divine. And here the rational logical mind doesn't come into play at all. You are connected with your heart. The mantras, they go beyond your mind. By definition itself, mantra means mananad tradate iti mantra, that which bypasses the mind. So mantra is beyond the mind, and it also helps in realigning our energies. It has various benefits. It calms you from the inside, and it's an experience to be had. A lot can be said about it, but unless and until you have been here and did these practices, you will not be able to understand. You will be surprised that we actually get requests from people who have been here that we should record the mantras for them and send them that they can continue listening to it.
So it gets long-lasting impact.
Yes, very, very, very long-lasting impact.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you said it's the heart of SWAN, so maybe it's a good opportunity to end this talk, this conversation.
Thank you so much for asking the questions. I hope you got some answers.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.